We're doing one deck gone wild, except this time, let's make it a little bit spooky. A spooky hello to you. Welcome back to the space. My name is Angel if we haven't met before, and if we have, welcome back. Oh, happy spooky season to you. I'm filming a couple of extra videos this month in honour of the spooky season because I love this time of year so much. The next video out is hashtag one deck gone wild, except this time it's a spooky edition. This was a community tag started a couple of years ago, I think. There was 37 prompts originally then, and the premise was that we chose as many prompts as we wanted to answer about one deck. I'm using one deck, but I'm just changing it up, and I've thrown in my own prompts as well as taking a few from the original list of prompts. I'll link everything in the description box. I'll link one of the original videos in the description box. And with no more being said, let's get into it. Let's go wild. Let's go spooky. So the deck I'm going spooky with is the Dreamkeeper's Tarot by Liz Houston. This is the mass market version. I think I must have got this a couple of years ago, something like that. These are the backs, I think are beautiful, and I've edged mine in like this silver, which I did with a Sharpie. Now the first prompt is, why did I pick this deck? Well, I picked this deck because it's had a few reincarnations, can I say, in my practice, which kind of felt like it fitted this spooky season with the ancestors and the afterlife, and so originally it started off as a shadow work deck for me. And then it became my paternal ancestors deck, the deck that I use for that practice. And this month, I've actually pulled it out of that practice because it's not that it hasn't been working, but I haven't been called to it in that practice. And so I just felt I wanted to bring it out for Dawn Michelle's practice this month. And I'm pairing it with a couple of other decks. I'm pairing it again with the Dreamstone Oracle because I love that deck. I'm also pairing it with the Divine Muses Oracle and even the Magic of You Oracle. And I'm really enjoying the pairing, really enjoying it. So I thought, why not bring this one out and give it a bit of an airing, and, let's go spooky with it. One deck gone spooky. So that's my why. Prompt number 2 is, how old does this deck believe it is? I think this deck believes it's a couple of 100 years old. I reckon it maybe thinks it was born in like the 1800s, something like that. The 1800s, I reckon. Early 1900s. Somewhere around there, I think. Yeah, I'm definitely going to go with that. Prompt number 3 was, if this deck had a favourite Halloween tradition, what would it be? Ooh. Now, I think this deck for me feels like there's a veil over all of the images. It feels very this season. And I think that's also why it resonated for me with ancestral work, because it feels like all these characters are behind a veil. That doesn't really help, but I just thought I'd add that in now. I think this deck's favourite Halloween tradition would be maybe like visiting a haunted house, a haunted gothic mansion, or like maybe visiting a very old graveyard and walking around the graveyard with like, a lantern with some kind of very long flowy dress with some kind of cloak over them. Just what's the word? Enjoying the ambience, I think, and just allowing the sensations and the feelings to seep into every pore of them. Yeah, I think that's what they would do. Is that a traditional Halloween? Is that a Halloween tradition? I don't know. Maybe like carving pumpkins is more your bag. But for this deck, I feel that this is the Halloween tradition. They would be pulling into this season. Okay, prompt number 4 is my favourite minors in the deck. Let's get to it. Now, I actually had another deck lined up for this tag, and strangely enough, I chose these minors from that deck as well, which has never really occurred to me that I really appreciate these minors. in the deck. It'll make more sense. I went with the 8s, which I was really surprised about actually, and I never really thought about it. That I really, really appreciate the 8s index. Maybe it's just coincidence. I don't know, or maybe there's a little bit of a nudge there for the number 8. I don't know. Anyway, I'm babbling and I'm going to stop. So these are my favourite minors. We've got the 8 of Cups, the 8 of Swords, obviously, the 8 of Pentacles, and even the 8 of Wands. Oh, let's get in shot. That would be a bit helpful, wouldn't it? Come along now, Angel. Do your YouTube-y stuff. There we go. Is that better? There we go. That's a bit better. I think I started with this one. I just think this is such a very strong image. I really like it. I like the fact that there's this like opening going on and there's this like dark night with this very choppy sea. I really like that. I really appreciate it. I like it. They've got wings and they, if they took off their veil and fought their way free with their hands, they could, fly away. I think it's got all the elements in this. I like it. I like it a lot. I do appreciate this one, 8 of Pentacles. And this is for the very superficial fact that it's got this tiled floor, and tiled floors really, really float my boat. I know it's very bizarre. And then I really enjoy this 8 of Cups as well. I like it that, this person it almost feels to me that there's this help coming from like a previous ancestor. Do you see this like skeletal arm here? It almost feels like they're helping them walk, they're supporting them as they walk away. I think that's beautiful. I really like the depiction. And then this one, I think this is also pretty good. This also feels to me that they're being supported, sorry. And they're almost, this person is almost, not slowing them down, but making sure that this rapid movement is not out of control. That's the way this card speaks to me anyway. And I love the butterfly wings, and that's beautiful. So it almost feels like they're helping them. They're not slowing them down, but they're just supporting them and making sure that they don't they don't lose their focus and lose their what's the word, course, maybe is the perfect word. So yes, very surprised. Maybe it's a coincidence. I'm gonna have to check some other decks and see if the 8s in the decks really really speak to me. Let's move on to the next prompt. So the next prompt is, what would this deck's Halloween costume of choice be? That was one of my prompts, I've got to say. Obviously the spooky prompts are mine, which I've added. Now I think this deck would really appreciate like dressing up for a Halloween party as like maybe like a medieval knight with full armour, full chainmail, like a big massive shield, and a sword. I think that this deck would really appreciate that. I also think this deck feels quite regal to me, so maybe like something like Marie Antoinette, something like that, with like a big wig and like this beautiful dress. I think that they could swish about in with a very long train and all that. I think that's the vibe of this deck, I think. So that's definitely my answer. Definitely. Okay, moving on to prompt number 5. What rituals or practices would this deck be taking part in or performing as the veil thins this season? Well, that's dead easy. This to me feels quite, this deck feels quite spooky to me. It feels quite ethereal and, it's just, I think this deck would take part in like a dumb supper, followed by a seance. So I think they would have this dumb supper set out, and then they would clear away the plates and the food, and then they would seat themselves with the candles and just tune in and call forward the people that have been at the dumb supper. Woo! Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Prompt number 7, a card in the deck that you find spooky or makes you feel uneasy. There could be quite a few cards in this deck because they are a bit a bit strange and unusual, very unique, but I chose this one, which is the 2 of Pentacles. Now this makes me feel uneasy and a little bit spooked out because it doesn't make sense what's going on in this card. You've got this person's head in their stomach, in where their stomach would be. You've got their hands praying. I'm hoping you can see this. Their hands praying where their neck would be, and then you've got like possibly the skeleton of a dead cat, maybe, or a small dog, unsure. And then their head is like a bird. It makes me feel uncomfortable because I don't get it. I'm like, why? It's like those contortionists that makes me feel a bit because I don't get it. I don't understand how their body can, fold into those positions, and it makes me feel uncomfortable because I just don't. It makes me. It makes me squirm. I promise you. And I get this feeling from this card as well. It makes me squirm. Let's move on to the next prompt. So the next prompt is this deck's favourite spooky film. I've actually got the film because, it's on my to-be watch list this month. And we're going old styley. DVD. Waka waka waka. Crimson Peak. Yes, it's an older film, so I don't think I'm going to give any spoilers, but I don't want to spoil it if you haven't seen it. But basically, it's this story happens in like this haunted mansion, I'm going to say, with these tortured souls that can't leave. Oh, that sounds really nasty, but it's a great film, I promise you. It's a great film, and that's what this deck feels like. They don't feel like tortured souls to me, but they do feel like entities that are still with us, still offering their guidance and support. It's all a bit weird and wonderful in this deck, which I think this whole, these entities still being here in this realm is what kind of led me to feel that this would be a great deck to work with for ancestral work. Like there's this it feels like these spirits are offering support. Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the next prompt. The next prompt is a character in a card that would make a good villain or monster in a scary story or film. I chose let me do this, let me do that, and let me do that. And I'm gonna say I chose two, if I can be so cheeky, because I'm a bit like that. I chose this one. I think this would make a great villain. This feels like, first of all, I'm not scared of spiders, and I know these are bat wings, but they do make me think of spiders' legs, and that makes me feel a bit, although I'm not scared of spiders. And the horns going on and dressed in black, it feels like there's this like mourning going on. This character's in deep mourning, and they've kind of taken that to a whole new level, and they've gone dark. I think that would make a great, haunted story character, villain, a baddie. I like it. And I do also feel that this one would be actually a great villain too. I do kind of get like, I don't want to spoil the card for you, but this kind of gives me like this sci-fi feel, because we've got it's happening in the cosmos, like up here, and this almost feels like it's got like a bit of a blob vibe going on to me. I can't think of what that film's called, but this like alien alien monster coming to Earth and attacking. It kind of gives me that vibe. I'm sorry if I've spoilt the card for you, but yeah, that was my answer. I cheated and I chose two cards. Let's move on to the next prompt. So the next prompt is a card that represents the colour of the season for you. Now, I personally think of the season's colours as orange, pumpkins, Halloween, even the leaves changing colour, black, white possibly for this like ghostly haunting feel, and even red. And that's the colour I went for. I went for this card, which is the Hierophant, and I went for red because I love this very dark, rich red. Oh, it totally floats my boat, which you might have guessed here. I mean, look at this. It matches my cloth perfectly, and I would like to say that this just feels like a Halloween or like a spooky season colour for me, like a Samhain colour, but it doesn't. I don't want to lie to you. I'm totally feeling this colour basically throughout the whole of the year, and I just think it's delicious. It's luxurious. It's decadent, and this colour gives me like or not the figure in the card, but the colour gives me like this vampirish vibe. Oh, it's like a vampire that's had their fill and the blood has dried to this like dark crimson colour. Oh, it's gorgeous, I'll tell you, it's gorgeous. Love it. Okay, let's not get too excited here. Let's move on to the next prompt before, you know, we get a bit squiffy. A book that would be on this deck's autumn to be read list. I think that might be, now I haven't read this book, but I have seen the Netflix series, The Haunting of Hill House. The book is by Shirley Jackson, and I would love to get my hands on a second-hand copy of that book this season. I think I'm going to put that on my to-do list. I'm going to try and get hold of a second-hand copy and read that book because I really enjoyed the Netflix series. If you haven't seen it, I'm just going to give you a very quick and hopefully no spoilers, but I'm going to have to give you a couple of spoilers. It's what it says in the tin. It's a haunted house on a hill, and there are these entities again. Got a bit of a Crimson vibe to it in some ways, a little bit. That there is this, like, you know, these entities that are trapped in this house. I'm not going to say any more. But it's very, very good. If you haven't seen the Netflix series, do it. Have you read the book? If you have read the book, drop me a comment in the comment section. I'm going to try and get my hands on a second copy and read that. Oh, because that'd be really, really fun. I do believe that the Shirley Jackson book was printed in 1959, something like that. So, and it does deviate from, or it doesn't deviate, the series deviated from the book, but I don't know how. So that's the reason I really like to read it. But these entities in this deck, they don't feel, you know, trapped or tortured, but they do feel, what's the word I'm looking for? Ethereal? No, I can't think of the word. I'm going to write on the screen. I can't think of it in English. I'll put it on the screen here for you. We'll move on to the next prompt, and the next prompt is, what is this deck's biggest fear? I think this deck's biggest fear is being forgotten. And by being forgotten, I don't mean the actual deck. I mean the spirits in this deck. That's what this deck feels like to me. It feels like these spirits, these entities, and I think their biggest fear is being forgotten, not being remembered, and therefore disappearing, just disappearing. Yeah, I do. I think that's their biggest fear. I love this card. I think it's beautiful. Okay, next prompt. We're going on to we're choosing 3 cards for bed, wed, and behead. Let's do it. Okay, this was quite easy. So we're going for bed first. Well, obviously it would be this character. I mean, you know, talk about tempting. Nom nom nom. So we're going with we're going with the devil. Nom nom nom. I'm happy to be tempted by that figure. We're going for wed. This was quite easy. It feels like he's already dressed, isn't he? He's already dressed for a wedding. It's perfect. And this character doesn't have any head on it, so I don't have to put up with any, you know, shenanigans because they can't speak to me. But they're already dressed for a nice wedding, so that would, you know, I'd wed that one. And then behead. Well, that was a bit tough, but this one is already beheaded, so the hard work is already done. The difficult stuff is already done. So I cheated a little bit, but you know, it works. It works. So we've got bed, wed, and behead. Let's move on to the next prompt. So the next prompt is a card in the deck that could set the scene for a spooky or haunted scary film or novel. And I chose, there was actually quite a few in this deck because it is, you know, it's got a bit of a spooky, bit of a haunted vibe going on. Maybe not haunted, but you know, yeah. But I chose this one, the 4 of Swords, because, you know, I mean, you know, you've got this character laying in the water, you've got this beautiful, very gnarly, well, I won't say gnarly tree going on behind it, but it's still very beautiful. We've got this beautiful sky and the moon high up. We've got like a cat hiding in the trees, and we've even got this like, we've got a couple of birds here. And we've also almost got like this, they've almost got like these curtains or this veil again. It almost feels like a scene on the stage, doesn't it not? It's just me. It feels like these are the curtains that are, you know, waiting to pull across to end the scene. Ooh, love it. Okay, I think we've got one more prompt. Am I right? Could it have gone that quickly? I think it could have done. Okay, so the last prompt is a card from the deck that represents October for me. or a card that I would like to represent October for me. I hope you catch my drift. Now I chose this card, which is the Fool from the Dreamkeeper's Tarot, and I actually really appreciate it because this has always spoken to me actually of, like, you can see this figure here stepping on this top hat, this person that's disappearing into, again, the checkered floor. Love that. And you've got these, you know, faces looking up, and you've also got these hands coming out, and I don't know if you can see this, they're actually holding like a wine glass and maybe like a letter or a message. And this almost feels to me, if I may be so bold and put myself as this character, that this is me being carried through onto this journey, or these new adventures, or this new start or beginning by my ancestors. You know, I'm being supported and carried forward, and almost like cheered on by the people that have come before me. I love that. I feel like this speaks to me of them having my back, and that's very important. That's very important to me because I don't feel I've had that. I don't feel that I've had people in my life that have had my back. So this really hits a chord in me that it feels like, you know, there's what's the word? There's not celebrating my success, but they're like, oh goodness me, Angel, come along now. Don't let the words escape you now. We've been doing so well. It does feel like they're, you know, oh, what's the word? You know, they're not egging me on. That's the wrong. Oh, holy moly! I'm gonna have to put it on the screen for you. I'll put it right there. Did I put something really amazingly fantastic? I hope so. Fingers crossed. But that's what this card speaks to me of. It speaks to me of my ancestors that have gone before me, that are now helping me forward, and, you know, carrying me when I need to be carried, but otherwise having my back and cheering me on and being my cheerleaders on this journey that I'm on. I love it. And obviously, you know, the reason I chose this card is because this is what I want to embody in October and generally through my spiritual practice. And I'm really, the October season is about this ancestral veneration for me, and really thanking my ancestors for the support they've shown me throughout the whole of the year. And not just my ancestors, but my spiritual team generally, and my deities. Oh, what a long kerfuffle. We got there in the end, did we not? Yes, this was such a fun tag. I'm going to pop all of the prompts that I added in the description box. I'm also going to add the original prompts. So, you know, if you want to do this tag, then, you know, choose as many or as few as you like. But, you know, it's a lot of fun with just the one deck. I'm puffed out. I'm off to, you know, have a spooky pumpkin latte or something. I'm going to see you in the next video, and I'm going to thank you so much for spending some time with me in this video. Have a lovely, spooky morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Take care, and I hope to see you in the next video. Toodles!